What's up, friends? So today we're going to be discussing the brand new Disney film, Luca. So Luca is a new Disney Pixar film that just came out in 2021 with a runtime of 1 hour and 36 minutes and is directed by Enrico Casarosa. So Luca follows the life of Luca, who is a sea monster with quite a unique ability. In fact, the whole world is a very uniquely built and endearing world. So this film is set in a world that's very similar to ours with one small difference. It's primarily set in a small city in Italy, a small fishing city in Italy. But the one difference is this world has sea monsters, of which Luca is a member. A sea monster with a kind of special ability. Whenever Luca steps on land and becomes dry, he turns into a human. And that obviously breeds some very unique situations. So Luca lives under the water, protected by his parents, and relatively far from society altogether. But he's always been a little bit curious as to what those land monsters are doing. One day he meets another sea monster who's already mastered transforming on land and living on land. This sea monster urges Luca to kind of explore land a little bit further, and off they go on a journey of epic proportions. So in terms of if you fall in love with the characters, I don't think it's even worth mentioning because it should be so obvious by now, but this is a Disney Pixar film, which means you're inherently gonna fall in love with the characters instantly. Animation aside, the character building is fantastic. You know, characters are lovable in their Disney way, in which you immediately gonna fall in love with some characters. Some characters are unbelievably adorable on screen. They do a fantastic job of mirroring human qualities that will make people relate to the situations and the characters they see on screen. Beyond that, the animation is unbelievably fantastic. Pixar Animation Studios always kicks it out of the park every time they make a movie, and this movie is really no exception. Everything's crisp and clear. The city of Monte Rosa is fantastically built. It really does an amazing job of conveying an essence of Italy and making you feel like you are in the town and visiting the town. If you've ever had a friend, you're gonna relate with Luca because he goes through a lot of situations that people go through with best friends. A best friend is your best friend because you've been through so much together, right? Best friend isn't necessarily always friendly with you. A best friend isn't necessarily always jovial or happy constantly. There are dark sides to friendships, but that's the beauty of friendships, is that they evolve and they transform even through the darkness, and they persevere through the darkness. And that's really shown in this film. The nature of the main character, you know, because he is a sea monster that every time water splashes on him, he turns back into his sea monster form. That lends to some very comical situations. This show altogether has a pretty predictable and straightforward plot, as in, I wouldn't expect too much out of the plot altogether because it's very obvious as to where it's gonna go. It's very obvious as to what's gonna occur. But the magic in the show is watching it all go down and watching these characters deal with all these situations and watching that adventure unfold. A lot of the lessons that are showcased in this film are surface level. It's not extremely deep, but it is insights that we can all learn from, and that overall message of acceptance of everyone, no matter what they look like, no matter what your predispositions of them are, no matter what your personal opinions of them are. Judging people for actually who they are and their actions outside of their appearance, that's a fantastic lesson that everyone can learn from and is relevant in today's time period, to be honest. It is a very heartwarming and endearing tale. The show also offers relatively good advice. One of my favorite takeaways altogether, that if you don't watch the show, at least this is worth listening or hearing about, is the idea of silencio. And I forgot the name they use in the film. I think it's Bromeo or something like that. You know, it can be whatever name you want. Essentially, the idea is before you attempt situations that scare you, before you attempt things that you might be hesitant as to if you can do it or not. Most humans often have a voice in their head that clicks on that reminds them that they can't do that. And what I mean by this, let me paint you a picture. Essentially what I mean by this is, let's say you're a skateboarder and you're on a ramp and it's the first time you're attempting, let's say, a half pipe. The first time you're attempting it, as you're staying on the edge, ready to push off, there will be a voice that switches off in your head that goes, wait a minute, I might not make this. Oh, wait a minute, What if I slip? What if I fall? That voice occurs in any situation altogether. You know, even if you're going into a test, an exam, there will be a voice in your head that says, what if I mess up? What if I get everything wrong? Before you enter a new job, there might be a voice that says, what if you don't like the environment? What if everybody hates you? What if you fail at this specific job? What if you fail at this task? That voice will exist for every human, no matter what. But in this film, they really stress the idea of silencio Romeo. The idea of you need to learn to, but when you're stepping into situations, you need to learn to silence that voice and convince yourself that person who is back there who doubts my abilities, who doubts my skill, who doubts my ability to accomplish this task, that person is wrong and he needs to be silenced. I can do it is what needs to be ringing in your mind. And if that is what's ringing in your mind, you will accomplish it. I guarantee you it. That's a thing that I thought was a fantastic takeaway from this film. Everybody has that voice. I've had it many times before, especially attempting things that are out of my comfort zone. Just reassure yourself, repeat it again and again, silencio, Romeo, or whatever you want to name your voice in your head, and just keep saying it and send it. And I guarantee you'll be successful. As long as you think you can do it, you will do it. I guarantee you that. Hold me to it too. Beyond that, in terms of what's unique about this movie, I mentioned it before, you really can't get enough of it. The animation, it really blows a lot of films out of the water. The water in the film is crisp and clear. The characters are animated, but they're still so reminiscent and brimming and full of life. The world is full of life. This Italian town really feels homely and loving. Fantastically built world, fantastically built characters. Really worth checking out for the animation alone. The film also has a beautiful Italian soundtrack that complements this world, complements this town. All really help to pull together this vibe of being in Italy and being in this town and exploring this town for the first time through the eyes of Luca, because this is the first time he's venturing onto land, right? This is the first time he's venturing out into the real world, as we call the real world. And you're on that journey with him, and it's engaging, it's endearing, it's beautiful. All in all, I really give this film a 3 out of 4. I think totally worth checking out. If you have the time, send it. Don't expect too much in terms of takeaways. My favorite takeaway I mentioned already. If you're really looking for takeaways, this might not be the film for you, and just take away what I mentioned and you should be good, because that's about the essence of this film, other than the idea of equality for all and judging people not based on their appearance but by character and for how he acts and his spirit and his personality. Even though he looks like a sea monster, he is better in nature than a lot of the other people in this town, and that's showcased by this film, and it's a fantastic thing to learn for anybody. I would not rank this film as #1 in my Pixar list, you know, just because Soul really stole my heart. But Luca is a fantastic addition to the Pixar world. This is also an amazing film to just show your kids, to put on in the background. It will entertain you as well, but also it really teaches kids some fantastic life lessons, and altogether will be engaging for all. Let me know in the comments below if you checked out Luca, what you thought about it, if you liked it or not. And until next time, I'll catch you all later.